Well, hello to all of our Facebook Live community. This is Brian Campbell with my father, Pat Campbell. Say hello to our Facebook Live family, Pop.
Hello, comment ça va après-midi?
All right. Ça va bien,
Ça va.
he dit. Is that
Ça va bien, that's good.
All right,
Yes,
all right.
that's the- yes.
I was paying attention in class.
Yeah.
Well, first thing we got to do is welcome everybody to our 13th Cajun Quarantine Concert Show. Everybody's checking in. Sharice checking in. Melissa Campbell checking in. Mr. Terry Dorey in the house. He wanted to make sure that you didn't tell too bad a story with him.
He's going to listen.
Miss Mary Alice Gray checking in, and she is the story behind Dad's shirt. Okay, Dad, they see the 13.
Yes.
They wrote it down.
Thank you.
They know it's going to be on the test. Y'all check out this shirt. Y'all, growing up, that's a one-man gang original. Growing up, I was a fan, and I still was a fan today of wrestling, man. Mid-South Wrestling, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, Hacksaw Butch Reed. Remember Ernie Big Cat Ernie Ladd.
Ernie
And,
Ladd, he's from around this area.
And so we
around the Patterson
we
area.
got Mr. George Gray, who's the one-man gang, and his wife, Miss Mary Alice, watching. And she sent Dad, she's like, oh, so you like shirts? And she sent Dad, how cool is that, man, a one-man gang shirt. And Dad said when it comes to eating at buffets, Daddy is the one-man gang of our household, man. He
watch me when I go.
Dad is undefeated at the buffets. So, Dad, how you feeling today? Everybody wants to know how you feeling.
Ooh, I feel good.
All right, he's feeling good. I feel good. I feel a heck of a lot better than yesterday. Had a little down day yesterday, but we all have our ups and downs. And we on the up today. We joined by my friend, Mr. Pip-Plup the Penguin. We got Chewbacca in the back. They're going to be singing harmonies. And today is a special day. We're going to be telling a lot of stories. Dad, if y'all have any questions for Dad or stories y'all want him to tell, I got some written down here, and we're going to mix in some music. So, Dad, why don't we start it off with some music, and let's
Let me say one thing before that, though.
Yeah.
Like I told Miss Mary Alice, if you send it, I will wear it.
Oh yeah, and that includes shirts, shorts, drawers, calzons, anything goes. So, Dad, you can't see me. Dad has his one-man gang shirt on. I'm wearing today my attire. I'm wearing cheap black leather pants, a sombrero, and boots and spurs. So that's my outfit. So just because I know some of y'all, are curious what I'm wearing. So, Dad, you ready to get it cranking? And also this is Name That Tune. I know y'all like that. So I have no idea what's coming. Dad locked it up in the safe.
I didn't get it.
He did. He locked it up in the safe. He just took it out. So I don't know what's coming. So
I'll give him a hint. It's a French song.
It's a French song, man. That narrows it down.
Allons à Lafayette, c'est pour jouer ton nom. Ils vont t'appeler madame, madame Canaco. Petite et trop mignonne, pour faire le crédit. Pourquoi même tu fais ça, c'est pour me faire fâcher. Le monde parle mal de toi, tu danses pas trop rouler. Pourquoi même tu fais ça, c'est pour me faire fâcher. Allons à Lafayette, c'est pour jouer ton nom. Ils vont t'appeler madame, madame Canaco.
All right. Miss Elaine Bork was in on it, and Miss Karen Hayes was in on the answer.
What's I couldn't ask you if it's correct because you might not know. It's called Allons à Lafayette.
That's what they said. Yeah. And Dot and Brian join in.
Hey, Dot and Brian.
Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Dad.
Let's get back to the one-man gang. You know a little. Does people know how tall he was, how big he was?
He was a one-man gang, so he could take on a whole gang of people.
Yeah, like they get 2 or 3 and they couldn't get him down.
6'9", 450 pounds, which is like our entire offensive line put together when I was in high school. If you stood us on head to shoulders, I don't think we could be 6'9", and I don't think we were 450 pounds. So he was a big man. But you know what's so interesting is that a lot of those heels, and heels are the bad guys, right? But in real life, they're the nicest people. You know, they just play in a character.
They like some teddy bear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Big teddy bear.
And I remember watching, Brian, what you doing? Sneaking a snack. Hey. I remember watching the wrestling with Maman Toops when I'd go over to her house. And oh man, she oh, he got the chair. He gonna hit it with the chair. Oh, he hit it with the chair.
Look out, he got something in his pants. He's gonna hit him with it.
I always thought Maman Toops would be a great like manager, you know, where she could manage the wrestlers, you know, and she could do a novena or something and bless the wrestler to victory. So all right, so let me start off, Dad, by doing some basics. When were you born?
July 21st, 1945.
What is your date of graduation? When did you graduate high school?
I graduated. I know I graduated in May of 1963.
How long have you been married?
I've been married.
He's starting to sweat. He's starting to sweat.
It's a long time. Well, it's long. 53 years.
All right, Pop.
To the same one.
And I'm going to start off by asking you to tell the story. This one was requested by your oldest son, Jason. And he wants you to tell the story the first time you went hunting. Or one of the first times
One of the first times I went hunting. Well, I have a brother that had a black lab. Somebody had given it to him, and in fact, the one that gave it to him was Danny Jones, Jr. And it wasn't a registered dog, but gave it to him, and well, anyway, it didn't do too well, and so anyway, that dog ended up going to Mr. Joey's, Bear, a cousin of mine. And we'd go hunting at Mr. Joey's camp. And it was dark one night, and this lab would go get the first duck. But the first duck, that dog always ate that duck. The dog, I don't care what it was, that dog would eat that duck and eat it.
It was a sacrifice to the lab god.
Bill, everything. So anyway, and that dog was also highly nervous. When you see that dog running around in that boat, making 2 or 3 turns, you better beach that boat and let that dog out, because the dog had to use the bathroom, and it's usually a diarrhea the dog had. And we didn't want to let the dog go in the boat.
He needed a porta puppy. He needed a bathroom.
So we was going to the blind one time. It was at night, and I was the first one to be dropped off. Mr. Joey Bear dropped me off at the first blind. And I said, whoa, well, let me get my thermos of coffee. You know, I'm always drinking coffee. So I had a thermos of coffee. And I grabbed the coffee, and I said, before I get out, let me drink some coffee. And so I undid and I felt something on my hands, and I thought it was some mud. And I took it out and said, man, that's... So anyway, some had gotten on the cup, and I said, dog, it's not mud, it's dog shit. And I said, but it was nighttime, I couldn't see. And evidently the dog had made a few rounds in the boat, and we never saw the dog, and the dog had crapped on the floor, and my thermos had rolled in.
So Dad had potty mouth.
Oh, no.
All right, so today's episode of Ask Dad Anything, y'all can ask him any question about growing up, about his music, about his family, or if y'all have stories, specific stories that you know you've shared with my dad that you want Dad to tell. So Dad, what I'll do is I'll kind of get the questions and get the feedback going. If you want to play another song, you can talk about it. Don't forget to work in some French.
Yeah. The reason I didn't make a list today of what I was going to play is because we was going to do so much talking. I didn't know how many songs we'd get to. And I think Brian is a good judge of things, and he's really the director and the producer of this show. And I usually play about 14 songs, and yesterday it was going over, so I kind of cut the songs kind of short, and he says, maybe today I'll do fewer songs to more talking.
Correct. But before you start, I got some questions that I want to get to now before I lose them. What's the most shrimp you ever caught in one throw?
25 pounds.
Go!
No, it's not 26. 25 pounds.
Hey, you got to wink. Wink when you say that.
25 pounds.
Attaboy.
So who said anybody?
Kelly Haydell.
Oh, Kelly.
And when Miss Victoria wants to know, when did you move to L.A.? Dad's born and raised here his whole life.
Born in Vermilion Parish.
Yeah.
Still, the only time I lived in Lafayette was when I was going to UL.
Yeah. And Luke wants to know what's in the cup. Coffee, decaf. Luke, I can answer that one.
No, nothing in it.
All right. So keep those questions coming, Dad. We're gonna do name that tune, rock us out with a little song. And we're gonna celebrate life today, everybody.
I want to say this song I'm going to play is a French song, and I want to apologize to a lot of people. Some will ask for a request if I can play something, and someone did request this a few days back, and I didn't have a pencil. I don't remember the name, but I'm going to play it. It's a French song, so here it is. C'est pas la peine que tu te la maintiennes dans ta chenille. Quand papa, ta vieille maman va t'établir. Me couche, j'embrasse mon oreiller pour ton pleurs. Peut-être à croire que ça serait trop qui c'est là, vieillard. Mais si je connais, tu vas jamais me voir.
All right, Dad, so many awesome questions. We're going to go rapid fire, okay? Jody White Derwan says, has he ever participated in the Citron Wars on Skunk Road? First, Jody, I want to say, as his agent, there's some things that are classified. You know, he can neither confirm nor deny, you know, when he's involved in the Skunk Road Wars. So
I heard about him. I never did.
Wink, wink. Okay, so and then moving right along, Miss Merlene McKnight wants to know: are you a cradle Catholic? You know what that means?
Cradle Catholic. I can tell her what I do. As
that I know this. I don't know what the cradle part is, but Dad's pretty devout. He's pretty devout Catholic. Goes to church every day. Well, not now, but
I usually go to mass. I usually go to mass on Monday. Well, I go to a church rosary on Monday, and then mass. Right after mass, I go play for an hour at the nursing home in Maurice. On Tuesday at 7:45, I go to the rosary in church. Then 8:15 mass, and then I leave from there and I go play for an hour at East Ridge,
Yeah.
and then I go to mass on Wednesday, Friday.
I always joke that
Yeah,
Dad's
he's-
compensating for something, doing all that.
I'm
joking, Dad. Hey, Miss Kelly
But
Broussard
I
wants to
know it's a
know.
cradle.
No, that's okay. We're gonna Google it. Miss Kelly Broussard wants to know how many children are y'all in your immediate family? Your brothers, your sisters.
4. 3 boys
Give them some props.
and a girl.
Give them some
My,
recognition.
my oldest sister, Riddell,
Hey, Aunt Riddell.
and then I have an older brother, Daryl, who died of a massive heart attack in Brazil.
Many a good moments with Uncle
Many a-
Daryl,
yeah.
man. Love
And
Uncle
then there's
Daryl.
myself, then Ted is my younger brother.
All right. What's the best thing about being a Cajun? Miss Victoria wants to know.
Whew.
I can tell you what Dad thinks about it. I can tell you what's the best thing about my dad being a Cajun. Ain't no stranger. You never met a stranger. People are open to have a cup of coffee and just talk. And
I want to tell you, your mama still can't get over it. One summer before I went back to graduate school, I did some trawling with Darcy Chicksnight on the Papa Shine.
the Papa Shine.
Papa Shine. This might have been in around 1979. And it was an experience. I did that for 2 summers. Then I went to summer school, to graduate school, and I couldn't do that anymore. And back then, while I was doing this, I was teaching, so I had the whole summer off. As a principal, you can't have the whole summer off. So I did that for 2 summers. So when I started going back to graduate school and I wasn't trawling with him anymore, I said, Darcy, one day bring me some crabs. So Darcy comes in, he had some crabs in the boat. He said, Pat, just go at the dock, go down there and I have some crabs for you. So I went down there and I could see some people taking pictures of the dock and the water and the boats.
It didn't look like they belonged, though, huh? It looked like
I could tell they weren't from there.
apple, banana, strawberry,
Yeah.
sledgehammer. Which one doesn't belong?
Sledgehammer. Pardon, I could tell they didn't know. So I went to them. Well, come to find out they were from France. So I started talking to them in French. And they said, oh man, where they could eat some gumbo and what they could. So I tell you what, you want to eat some good gumbo? Follow me to my house. I went there, I made a gumbo. People I didn't even know. A man and his wife, he was around in his 60s. And for his retirement, he worked for a railroad company. And the railroad company always gave their retirees a trip any place they wanted to go in the world. And they chose to come to the United States. So, yeah, I do invite strangers to my house.
Isn't that amazing? Dad can remember cooking a gumbo for some French strangers, but sometimes he can't remember my name's not Melissa. Isn't that it's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with
But
you, Dad.
yeah, I do.
Hey, a couple other quick questions before we move on. What's your favorite memory? And I know sometimes to pick a favorite is tough, but just something that maybe stands out at Delcom as a teacher or principal. What's kind of a
I'll tell you one thing, not the most flattering, but one of the most flattering things when I was teaching. Dave Frederick was an assistant principal, and I was explaining something, I don't know what idea or what topic was in math. But after class, he says, Pat, he said, I was listening, and his office was right across the street, right across the hall from where I was teaching. No air conditioner, no fans. You had to have the doors open when it was warm. And he said, Pat, he said, I couldn't see the board, but he said, I understood so well and followed everything that you were saying in such a detail. He says, I don't see how all of the kids didn't understand what you were talking about. So that was a compliment for me as far as how I explained things.
Absolutely.
And that's a high
Cradle Catholic means you were born Catholic, so you were born into the Catholic faith, like from the cradle.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, Dad. We're not grading your paper. Listen, here's something cool. Miss Jennifer Brantley, are you taking requests? My dad would also translate Cajun French songs. Love the music in Cajun French history and stories your dad shares. Tell your dad he's a great ambassador for Louisiana these days. Would love to hear Je passe devant tes portes. Merci beaucoup. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. So, all right. So, keep those questions coming, Dad. Why don't you kick us off with another?
Well, you want me to play J'ai passé devant ta porte now?
Of course. How you like that for service, bro? You got to the front of the line. It's like on Monopoly. Pass go directly to your song request.
J'ai passé devant Somebody forbid, so you lie
All right.
I'd like to ask something. The song before that, we didn't name it.
That is going fast, man.
Okay,
I'm doing my best.
But it's Viens chercher. Come and get me by Ira LeJeune.
All right. We got a birthday, Madison Hoyt. Shout out for you for your happy 60th birthday. And I'm going to do it in my Christopher Walken. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Madison Hoyt. Yada, yada. Happy birthday to you. All right. So happy birthday, Madison. Man, we got a lot of questions.
Madison is a sweet, smart young lady. I know her really well.
Dad, what did your parents do for a living or for around the house or you?
My parents, my mother had a 5th grade education. My daddy never went to school a day in his life, couldn't read or write. My daddy worked in the rice fields most of his life until the latter part. He worked on the Lafayette banker for several years.
Good man, huh?
And he returned from there. Good, honest, yeah, I would say so. And so that's what they did. Yeah.
Next question. I want you to tell the story about you being mischievous at 5 years old.
This is a story that I don't know. I'll always remember this. My daddy worked in the rice fields one time for Mr. Andrew Bernard, who lived in the Esta area. And I was 5 years old. I remember because I was not started school yet, but the following year I did. And I could hear Daddy and Mr. Andrew talking about going to Batis's, which is about 5 miles away, to fix a tire. And I was there building around and outside, and I said, well, I was saying this in French. I want to go with y'all. Well,
how do you say that in French?
J'aimerais aller avec vous autres. Et ça me disait, oh, tu peux pas venir avec nous autres. You can't come with us. So I didn't say anything. I go in the truck, and I took the key out of the truck, and I went and I hid it in a little pile of sand. I didn't say anything. I went back with them and acted as though nothing happened. They put the tire in the truck, and they went to go to fix it, and they said, "Et où la clé? Je connais pas où la clé. Where's the key? Where's the key?" I said, "Moi je connais où aller. I know where it's at."
I know where the key.
I said, "Well, where it's at?" I said, well, if y'all bring me, I'll show it to y'all. So they said, okay, we'll bring you. And I went in the sand, I uncovered it, I gave them the key. They put me in the truck and they brought me with them. I was 5 years old.
What a great story.
Well, I don't know.
Miss Arlene Delca Menard said, loved being in your math class, Mr. Campbell, although math didn't like her. That's what she said, math didn't like me.
She's a sweetie pie, too. You know, Miss Arlene married one of Mr. D.L. Menard's sons. Mr. D.L. Menard was her father-in-law.
Miss Merlene Toops Rayo said, do you have any story about you and Mr. Gerald Buteau that you'd like to share?
Oh, we know a lot
any that can be shared on, this is, I'd say this is a rated PG show.
Oh, man. I hope Gerald doesn't pick up the mic and tell son, man, you know, son. Now, I was a principal. I had never been out of a million parish, you might say, when I was in high school. And one day, Le'Aaron Monte was bringing his uncle to the Veterans Hospital in Alexandria. And just he and his uncle was going with his mom, and they said, you want to come? Yeah, I want to go. So we asked Mr. Bernard, the principal, both Gerald and I, can we go to Alexandria? We've never been before, and our parents sent a note. And he says, no, y'all can't go. I told Gerald at noon, and Leanne was leaving at about 12:30. So at lunchtime, we took off, and he lived about a quarter of a mile from school, Gerald's grandfather, Mr. George Baudin. And we ran away from school, we went to George's, and Aaron picked us up when we got back. Mama said, Mr. Bernard called, he already expelled. So that was in high school. Back then I was bad. I was like Terry Doré. I guess I smoked, and I was in track. So I was smoking. I went in the front of the school, sitting on the steps, smoked in the front of the school. Mr. Bernard called back one day. Y'all come back to school. He didn't want me to stay out.
But you know what's cool though, Dad, and this is my story. Dad's background gives him a unique perspective when he'd counsel kids. When you would work with kids, you'd see yourself in some of those kids, and you didn't give up on them. But you could relate, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, Miss Jennifer said, thank you so much for the song. Maybe later we could do Marche par la Patate.
I have it down too. Somebody requested that. I'll do it next time. I have the words for it.
Mr. Tim Fontenot said our webcast is outdrawing the governors. I don't know about that, but maybe Dad could run for governor. Okay, so Dad, what's our next song you're gonna play, and then I'm gonna set you up for some more awesome storytelling.
This next song is for a gentleman that has requested.
Mr. JB?
Mr. JB has asked for Jambalaya. I know I've played it before, and Mr. JB, I apologize. And like I've told people, I get so many texts, and I really can't go through all of them. It takes a lot of time for me to prepare my music, and I'm sorry if I skipped it. It wasn't to sly you or anything. But here's Jambalaya dedicated to Mr. JB.
There's always room for Jambalaya.
come to see the bonfires they're done. Dressed in style, go home wild before my room. Son of a gun, we're gonna have big fun on the fire. Jambalaya, coffee pie, she is so good. Cause tonight I'm gonna see my Cajun road. Big car filled with joy and the baby. Son of a gun, we're gonna have big fun on the fire.
Miss Merlene said, love the music, but please more stories. So they like the stories.
Oh, well, good.
Hey, I want to tell a quick story. I get a message from a really nice lady who says, someone shared your concerts or, your video on my Facebook. And the lady said, oh my gosh, I graduated with him. I was one of 3 females that graduated with Pat. And so they connected after all this time, or it's been at least 10 years maybe. But I think that's a cool story. And you wanted to get in touch with her anyway, but just how that brought y'all. Tell everybody who that is.
Well, as soon as
give
she
her a
said
shout
I
out.
was one of 3 girls, I named them right away. Cheryl Thibodeau, Charlotte Rampke Buteau, and Deanna Hudson. She is now a Johnston, Anita Johnston. So
That's really cool, man. That's awesome. Miss Victoria wants to know what key is the accordion in for Jambalaya. That's your B flat.
For Jambalaya, if you see, I have 2 accordions here that I will play, and the one with the crawfish is a B flat, and the one without the crawfish is a C. So this one has the crawfish, so it's a B flat. When you see the crawfish, it's a B flat.
Dad, was it true you used to race the bus to school?
Oh yeah.
Mom said you would race the bus to school.
Yeah, Mr. Broussard. Not Mr. Onizim Broussard, Mr. Forget his name. But yeah, I lived at the Bank of Ferry, and the Bank of Ferry was 3 miles away from where I lived to school. And one day what I decided to do was to run to school. So I waited for the bus. Now Mr. Broussard, Mr. Broussard would pass in front of the house, and then when you get at the highway 330 or whatever it is, he would make a little dog route, and then he'd come back and go to school. But anyway, I beat him at school. I got to school before him. That was it was about 3 miles.
Miss Kelly's asking, is it Mr. Emile Broussard? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow.
Miss Kelly knows more about your life than you do, Dad.
Well, yeah, Mr.
Emile.
A
Awesome.
nice fellow, but he drives slow.
It was handicapped.
Yeah. No, he was a nice fellow. Always wore some nice leather gloves to drive.
Dad, were you nervous your first? I know it's a long time ago, but I know for me, I get nervous every time I start teaching. Like every morning I get, and then once you get started, then you kind of warm up but I always have a little bit of nervousness, either before a show or before I teach. Do you recall when you were just out of college, man, your first big boy job, you had your first, you had your big boy underwear on, and you're going for your first day of school? That had to be, maybe not, but that had to be kind of,
yeah.
What was that like?
It was the first time, yes.
Can you name anybody who was in your first class? Do you remember? Yeah. Like, I remember some students in my first class. Do you remember?
I remember, now this was in 1967, so 30, 40, 53 years ago. 53 years ago, I can tell you that Andrea Broussard Falgout was in 7th grade. Maybe Jill Cashin, back then she was a Cashin, might have been in 6th grade. Carrie Laviolette, the superintendent, I remember when she was in 6th grade. I remember she raised a hand and she said, "Mr. Campbell, can I go get an aspirin from my grandma? I said, well, child, you can't go to your grandma's house. You know, your car might hit you or something like that. And then the rest of the class said, oh, no, Mr. Campbell, her grandma teaches first grade here. I said, well, yeah, you can go and get an aspirin.
Mr. Terry Dorey said he must have smelled good when he got to school after running 3 miles. You know what he smelled like, Mr. Terry? He smelled like victory. He smelled like...
No. Hey, our school, unlike Delcom, had a shower in
Oh,
their school. I
man.
took a shower before I went
Science.
to class.
It's science, Mr. Terry. It's science. What's the next song we got, Dad?
This song goes out to my daughter, Melissa Campbell. She requested it. And I said, well, I know how to play it, but I said, I don't have the words, and I couldn't find it. So anyway, she sent me the words. And I also want to send that same song to my sister, Riddell.
All right.
Riddell Campbell.
Melissa got Aint Riddell's height. You know, usually you don't see
Yeah, they're, I think,
Tall,
5'11",
yeah.
somewhere around there, I think.
tall girls in the Mouton Cove area.
This is in the key of A. I'm going to play that on the harmonica. And it's called, It Ain't Gonna Rain No More.
It ain't gonna rain no more. It ain't gonna rain no more. Oh, I'm excited, me. I'm excited, me.
People, these are prescription glasses.
Dad could see into the future with them lenses. They're so thick.
Well, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more. How in the heck can I wash my neck if it ain't gonna rain no more? Well, it rained last night and the night before. It ain't gonna rain no more.
No more.
How in the hell can the old folks tell if it ain't gonna rain no more?
No more.
Well, them little mosquitoes fly high. And them little mosquitoes fly low. Well, son of a gun, if you lied on me, you ain't gonna fly no more.
No more.
Well, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more.
No more.
How the heck does them old folk know if it ain't gonna rain no more? Well, a bullfrog sitting on a lily pad, and he looked at the sky. The lily pad broke and the frog fell, and he got water all in his eye. Well, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more.
No more.
How the hell can them old folk tell if it ain't gonna rain no more?
Hey. If you're liking this song, make sure to show it some love. We're gonna put this one on Dad's greatest hits.
Moi la belle, on a été à la beach. Y'a la pote swimming suit. Chaque fois on plongeait dans l'eau, on pouvait voir some juicy fruit. It ain't gonna rain no more, no more.
It ain't gonna rain no more.
How
the heck can the old folks tell if it ain't gonna rain no more? All right, what a good song. We're gonna put that on Dad's Greatest Hits album because that was a fun song. Okay, Miss Victoria.
A question. Can you imagine a person speaking perfect English singing that song?
Let me try. Wait,
Well,
you gonna do it?
No, I can't.
It isn't going to rain no more anymore. It isn't going to rain anymore.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Oh yeah, that's enough. That's good. That's good. Though.
Yeah, that's my English voice, Dad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard that before. When I did the football announcing for the first time, when Darcy asked me to do it, after the game, people would come up and they say, "May Brian, may you talk so good." And I was like,
I remember I was
yeah.
in the booth with you.
English. But I talk when I get back home. I talk like everybody else. But when I was going for 10 years, I had to. Nobody wants Bobby Boucher working on an injury, because I was in athletic training and I'd work with people from all over the country. And me, all right, me, this is, I know the bone's sticking out, but it's gonna be okay. We're gonna give you a little Advil, Dad. We're gonna put a little ice on that. They'd be like, "Oh, just let it bleed out, man. Don't touch me." So, all right.
I remember though when you spoke like that. I remember that might be the first year that you did the PA system for the football games. I remember I was in there, and one time the priest was in there and he said the prayers before the ball game, and they were questioning, "What? You got a PhD?" You said, "Yes, sir." You did a dissertation? Yes, sir. I remember that though. So
they were given.
They couldn't understand you talking like that.
Yeah.
But you had some kind of education.
They were given degrees out alphabetically when I was there.
Yeah.
Dad, question. Miss Victoria, did you raise your own children to be bilingual? No, ma'am. We don't speak French. Just a couple pet words. But Dad grew up speaking both English. Papa only spoke French, and Mama mostly spoke English, right, to y'all? But
Yes.
How long did you know Miss Yvonne before y'all were married?
4 years. When I was a freshman in college, she was a high school senior at Abbeville High. We started dating.
They met on Match.com. They met on Facebook.
And so we dated 4 years before we got married, and we've been together 53 years.
Miss Deanna wants to know, does Pat know Mr. Moisey Baudet? He makes accordions. Do you know
Mr. Moisey Baudouin.
Baudouin.
Yes, I do. And the one that's a C note, the one that I play sometimes, he's the one that made it for me.
Awesome. What song you got thinking you're gonna do next, Pop? What about the Don't Drop the Potato? If we doing a request.
I tell you what, I have it, but I was gonna play it maybe tomorrow. I didn't bring that music.
Miss Marlene, my mom is from the budding metropolis of Intracoastal City. Imagine New York, and then eliminate that thought from your mind, and just picture a little small Cajun port by the bay. Intracoastal City. Dad, how many islands? This is a suggestion from Melissa. How many islands can you name? Let's see how many islands we can name. You guys help us back.
The Grand Isle counts as a Grand Island?
Just anything that has the word island in it.
Oh, Australia. That's an island. Huh? No, it's
a continent.
Oh, no, it's a continent. Right now, Pecan Island.
Pecan. Y'all help us out.
Pecan
if
Island,
we miss one.
Wait. Pecan Island, Farked Island, Cow Island, Avery Island.
What's by Delcom? There's one.
Jefferson Island.
Yeah. That's a lot of islands.
Since I retired, I don't like to use my brain. I don't know.
All right. No, I think we got all the important ones. Mr. Randy said his dad only knew French and got punished when he spoke French at school. Were you in school when you got punished for speaking French, or you were out by then?
We all spoke English. Outside on the playground, we spoke French.
Yeah. All right. So, again, we're doing a Ask Dad Anything. If y'all have any questions. Oh, Marsh Island, Luke Landry.
Marsh Island, you're right, Luke. Marsh Island.
Good job.
Yeah.
And
Chandelier Island.
Hey, can y'all imagine this as a reality TV show, like a coon-ass fantasy island where we got our own Cajun Mr. Rourke and we got a little tattoo and may welcome y'all to Cajun Fantasy Island. They just take them to Avery Island back in those backwoods.
Yeah. Oh, how about Cuba?
Jody White said Islands in the Stream. That's what you call, that's when Dolly Parton's taking a bath, Jody. Gros Téton. She got Islands in the Stream. That's one of my first memories of jokes.
Man, I tell you what, we'd watch a lot of, Yvonne's daddy would watch, we all watched country and western music, the Grand Ole Opry, and that way back when Brian was, I guess about 6 years old. And every time Dolly Parton would come on TV, Yvonne's daddy would say, hey, look, Gros Téton, look, Gros Téton. So Jason got to know as Gros Téton.
That's it. That's the name.
We go to the Grand Ole Opry at the old Ryman Theater, and who was there? Dolly Parton. In front of everybody, Jason would say, Papa, look, Gros Téton!
Hey, but you know what? Probably nobody around there knew what that meant.
Nobody did that, almost standing.
Miss Victoria wants to know, you ever had a bad encounter with an alligator?
No. I'll give him the ice chest if he wants it. No, never have. Never have.
Weeks Island. We forgot about Weeks Island. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
And have you ever been to the Louisiana Hayride?
One time, we got on a bus and we took a tour. We went, we sure did one time.
Have you ever heard of Rabbit Island?
I have. And I've also heard of Monkey Island.
Monkey Island?
Rabbit Island, it rings a bell, but I don't know where Rabbit Island is. I know where Monkey Island is at. Monkey Island's in Cameron, right when you take the ferry.
So for those of you out of state, y'all don't need to go to the Bahamas. You don't need to go to Grand Cayman. You don't need to go to Cozumel. You could just come to Louisiana and sample the islands. And Dad, what is your cooking specialty? Like if you were on one of those reality cooking shows where you had to cook a dish to impress, Gordon Ramsay or one of them celebrity judges, what's your go-to dish that you think that you do the best? What's your go-to or you personally feel is your best?
Well, the first thing I'd go to the judges and ask them, y'all like gumbo, or y'all like sauce piquante, or y'all like jambalaya? I'd find out what they like.
Yeah, get the inside information.
Oh, yeah, and then you cook that, you're more likely that you're gonna like that.
What do you think is your best? It's hard to say. Bull Island. That it's hard to get Dad to decide on something, which is fine.
Well, I think they're all pretty good.
Bull Island. Let's see.
Rock Island.
Melissa said your best dish is shrimp and crab sauce piquant. That's from your daughter.
Okay, that's sauce piquant. Thank you, Melissa.
All right, Dad.
But you don't like my okra shrimp crab gumbo?
Oh, I knew that's where this was going to go.
You don't like my gumbo, my okra gumbo?
Hey, I swear to God, I heard one time Dad was talking to somebody, and he said, "Pat, remember that gumbo you cooked in the spring of '84? It was like it was a it was like a landmark."
And it was standard when they come to the camp. Having a camp at Grand Chenier for 25 years, people would come. It was standard. Shrimp, crab, sauce piquant. You'd go and you'd catch 12 dozen crabs in 45 minutes. You had, day after day after day.
After your next song, I got a crabbing story.
Okay, and I'd make a crab shrimp sauce piquant with a big potato salad, and then after you serve yourself until you couldn't eat no more, we'd make a big sambucchial of ice cream.
Yeah.
We had cherry and pineapple.
All right, this goes out to all the Facebook family out there. What is your go-to dish? Like if you had if you were self-quarantining with a special someone tonight, and you had to make a dish for them, what's your go-to dish? What's the best dish you can cook? That's for them to talk while you play your next song.
Okay, yeah. I'm getting it now. Ready for the next song?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next song, I want to dedicate this to two people. Mr. Philip Nunez and his father in heaven, Mr. Neil Keith Nunez. Philip says that Jimmy Rogers was one of his, way back, was one of his daddy would be in his hundreds right now if he'd be alive, but Jimmy Rogers was one of his favorites, and so he sent me a couple of songs. I think yesterday, the day before yesterday, I played a song. I forget the name of it, and I'm gonna play another one today. And Tomorrow I'm going to try to play another one that he sent me, Mother Queen of Hearts. But this is called Pistol Packing Mama. Drinking beer in the cabaret, I was having fun. Until one night she caught me right, and now I'm on the run. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down. She kicked out the windshield, she hit me over the head. She cussed and cried and said I'd lied and wished that I was dead. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down. Drinking beer in the cabaret and dancing with the blonde. Until one night she shot out right, bang, that blonde was gone. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down. I'll see you every night, babe, I'll woo you every day. I'll be your regular daddy if you put that gun away. Oh, lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Be your Philip Bumble, lay that pistol down. Now went home this morning, the clock was ticking 4. Gun in her hand says, you're my man, but I don't need you no more. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down. Now there was old Al Dexter, he always had his fun. But with some lead she shot him dead, his honking days are done. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down. Has anybody ever heard that song before?
We had a couple people say, yeah.
Really?
Now listen, I'm going to do a multiple choice. Let me do all the, before you answer.
Okay.
Before you answer, okay? Some people were putting out some yummy food that their best cook. So I'm going to list you some different food, and then you tell me what you'd most like to eat, okay? Man, listen to this. Okay, so you have the choice between shrimp and tasso veggie soup. That's Miss Louise Duyon's, that's her best thing she cooks. Steak, rice, and gravy, and potato salad from Miss Merlene. So you could have that. Mr. Norris Jackson, he said his best thing is a crawfish loaf. You could pick that. Remember, Dad's going to pick what his favorite out of what everybody's saying they could cook. Miss Kelly Broussard, chicken stew with rice and potato salad. And seafood and okra gumbo, Miss Karen Hayes, meatball and potato fricassee. Crawfish bisque by Miss Sherry. Pork roast stuffed with garlic, chicken and sausage gumbo. So out of all of those items, Dad, what's your answer to what you'd most like to eat?
Yes.
I think that's Dad's way of saying all of the above, bro. Have you ever met a home cooked meal you turned down? Ever?
Man, I don't think there's ever some bad ones.
No.
Some are better than others.
Dad's
Man, some people say, I don't like that. It's I've eaten better, but man.
Oh, what a great story. Oh, Mr. Randy's laughing at that one, Pop. Okay, so I'm going to tell a quick one, Dad. Mr. Randy Reed.
Oh, Mr. Randy Reed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to tell a quick story, and you could chime in. The greatest crabbing experience I've ever been a part of. I might have been 12 years old. We had the Brewers with us, Mama Toops, the whole family. partner, the crabs, the good Lord. Remember?
And those days there was no limit.
Yeah, there was no limit. So y'all don't call the ward. Y'all don't call the game warden. Dad knows them all anyway. But there was no limit, y'all. Christ Himself blessed the waters and multiplied. Remember what He did with the loaf of bread and the fish? That was nothing compared to what the Lord did to them crabs in the water. They were pulling 6, 7 at a time on a line, and then go to the next line and pull 5. Then go back to the first line and pull 3. The boat was full beyond. We ran out. We had crabs in the nets and flipped over.
We had 5 grass sacks. We had 5 grass sacks of crabs.
We had crabs loose. We were starting to name them, and we couldn't fit any more crabs nowhere. You know, Dad's like, my pockets are full. We couldn't fit crabs nowhere, and we were trying to leave because we didn't want the boat to sink. And the last person that we could convince was my mama. And we were like, Mama, we don't have no more room. It's you or the crabs, Mama. Come on. She was still trying to, she's like, I just need a couple more for a stew. She was like, just a couple more. I need me a stew.
And people, we got home and we started calling people. Y'all want some crab? Y'all want some crab? We gave crab. We cooked crabs.
We gave more people crabs than Vegas that weekend. But All right, Miss Judy.
That pistol packing mama. That's a cool song.
That's a cool
Thank
song.
Thank you, Mr. Phillip.
That's a cool song. Dad, tell the story about Chris wanted you to tell about the
those of you that know me knows that I have I love to go crabbing and shrimping, casting it on Rockefeller. And one day there was my son-in-law Chris, and he had a friend from the military that was with him, that he brought with him. And we went in my boat, and at that time I had 3 boats, but we went in my bay boat, which was pretty fast. And it would do right at 50 miles an hour. And we went to a place they call the LSU structure. It's now called the Tom Hess structure, but it's the LSU structure for those of you that know. And we got to the LSU structure. We threw the cast nets, caught our limit of shrimp, back in the boat. And I said, now guys, the tide's low. I'm going to have to give it the gas. And I said, no matter what, I'm not stopping, because then we're going to be on a mud flat. I said, we got to get on step. So I stood up so I could see everything well, and I gave it the gas. Boom, it got on step. My son-in-law was sitting on this side of me, that his friend was on that side, and I was driving, and without knowing, up from the north comes some ducks, and they passed over the little trees that was along that levee, and that duck and I met. And I was going, I guess, in the 40s, and that duck hit my face. It flew. I kept my eye not to get off step, but my son-in-law looked, and he said that duck was kind of, looked like it was oozing. Well, a duck hit me in the face while I was driving the boat.
Yeah. I guess you didn't have time to duck.
Oh, that's a good one.
But
I like that.
I like that story, Dad. All right, so we're at the end of our show. We're trying to keep it at about an hour. I have a couple more questions, though, because we want to respect everybody's questions. But this will be our You Are My Sunshine time. Dad, did you teach us how to cook?
Those that wanted to learn, yes. Jason is an excellent
Yeah, I'm not very much of a cook. The flies actually chipped in to fix the screen door when I tried to cook one summer, and I'm not a very good cook. I mean, I don't know.
The flies didn't go through
the fly. No, they just wanted to fix the door. They didn't want to come in. And I mean, how can you make toast have bones? I don't know, but I'm not a very good cook. But my brother is an excellent cook. And I married strategically. You know, I love her, and she's awesome. But boy, my wife can cook good. Mm-hmm. All right, so that'll do it for our show today. You know what we're going to end it on. Again, special thanks to the Grays for the One Man Gang shirt, man.
Thank you. Maybe one day I'll get to meet you, George.
Oh, man. I am so excited.
And Mary Alice also.
I was a big fan growing up, man. Thank you, Mr. George and Miss Mary Alice. So y'all know what time it is. We want everybody to sing at home. And if you guys have any suggestions for theme shows, you know, we're just trying to mix it up. Remember, we're here every day for the quarantine, for our sanity and yours, you know, just to try to do something different and connect with all of our friends and family. So you guys sing along, and y'all know that y'all are sunshine, man. Go ahead, Pop.
I would like to play.
Dun 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 dun. My sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, while I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. But when I woke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and cried. You're my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Hey, all right, y'all are our sunshine, man. When Dad and I get up in the morning, the first thing we do is sit, rock in our chairs, and talk about what we're gonna do today. How fortunate we are to have this life that God has blessed us with, and to be able to share our gift of music and storytelling with all you guys at home. Y'all have a blessed day, man. Make it a good one. Don't forget social distance. Y'all watch out. Y'all be safe. Y'all be healthy. And let's sharpen that curve. Again, if y'all have any requests for future shows, you guys please let us know. But we love you all. All right,
God bless
Dad.
you.
The one-man gang, dude! I'm so excited, man.
Me too.
Maybe I could get him to autograph it one day.
Yeah, but you're not having it.
Dad, I think there's some people out there that want your autograph. We might have to get some photos, and Dad can start signing some souvenirs. All right, y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.